Yeah, so I was making sure it was over. I was making sure it was over.
Carmen, we have invocation next, yes? And who is doing that this?
God of Abraham, God of Isaac and Ishmael, all glory and honor go to you. For the times that we have sinned against you or didn't live up to your expectations, we ask for forgiveness, and with your help, we will try to do better in the future. Lord, when you revealed yourself to Abraham, you promised that he would have descendants multiplied like the stars. And the faithful of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam pray to you and give you thanks. Thanks for those assembled here today for our country, our state, our county, Homer Glen, and the patriots and founders that created this land and our village. Help us to come together and discern your will for us, to act in a way that is best for our community, for our elderly, and for our special needs. Help us to further your kingdom on earth. Amen.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Rogers? Trustee Reinders? Present. Trustee Pazmino?
Present.
Trustee Consolino? Present. Trustee Fialco?
Present.
Mayor Yukich?
Present.
And we're just waiting on Nicole Laha, or Trustee Laha.
All right, are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir, there are.
Okay.
I would like to move F to all the way down to the end of the meeting and make it 14, or JA, however you want to look at it, or let's just make it J14 instead of F. So I'd like to move the approval of the minutes, F 1 through 10, down to the number 14 slot in the J column. And also, I would like to table J10 and J11.
I'll second that. Would you like me to do roll call? Or all in favor? What would you like?
You should do a roll call.
Sure. Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers? Aye. Trustee Reinders? Aye. And Trustee Consolino? No.
Hi, Nicole. We can hear you. No problem.
Nicole, just to update you, we moved letter F to J14.
So we're going into public comment.
And Nicole, we also tabled J10 and 11.
I'm sorry.
And we took the vote on it and it passed.
Okay, Joe's bringing up public comment. Thank you. First will be Dan Stiparic.
Close enough. Good evening, Homer Glen Board. I'd like to make a request to amend Homer Glen Code 92-71C. Currently, the village does not require a sidewalk to be shoveled, but Code 92-50B, obstructing public ways and public places, states, commit any act or place any object in or upon any driveway, public sidewalk, trail, or access to any other public place or building which is an obstruction to or interference with the free and uninterrupted use of the property or ingress to and egress from such driveway, public sidewalk, trail, or access to any other public place or building. The reason for this amendment change is this, and I would like to add that both Joe Baber and Casey Strodowski know of this situation from videos sent over the years, as well as new videos I sent on 12/26, this time including Mayor Yukich. After it snows, someone simply being courteous may shovel an entire sidewalk corner to corner. Unfortunately, what happens after that, and usually when no one is around, a homeowner will come out and relocate snow from the street, parts of their unshoveled driveway, and even from the grass areas of their yard onto the sidewalk, including some of the neighbors' sidewalk around them, trying to make a sidewalk impassable. Yes, he will literally snow blow the grass in his yard to refill the sidewalk. After this happens and you come out to remove the snow, even if just from your part of the sidewalk, you will be verbally harassed, with him saying, "Stay off my property," trespassers, and even with obscenities. Finally, when you're done and back inside your home, he will run back out and do it again. Elaborating on this, even if you do not shovel the sidewalk in front of this house, he will still come out relocating snow to some of the sidewalk on your property that you have cleared, then add snow to part of his sidewalk, making it as deep as possible. Then, as I've mentioned before, when you go out to clean your portion of the sidewalk that he intentionally threw snow onto, you will again be harassed. It is obvious what he is doing is to try to prevent anyone from walking on the sidewalk and in front of his house. People clear sidewalks corner to corner out of niceness for the safety of people simply walking with their pets, children going to the bus stop, etc. This is nothing new and just happened on December 22nd at 11 p.m. However, having someone refill a sidewalk with snow to prevent you from walking is not only disturbing, but it also reintroduces a safety hazard. This has happened several times since the 22nd and will happen again with the next snowfall. As far as the amendment goes, we realize you do not have to shovel your sidewalk, but we also realize you cannot intentionally block a sidewalk preventing anyone from using it. The amendment would be this: if a sidewalk has been cleared of an obstructing object such as snow, meaning anyone can use it freely, you cannot relocate the obstructing object back to the sidewalk, preventing passage.
You have 30 seconds.
Doing so would be a violation. I thank you all for the time for listening to my request.
Thanks, Dan. Next would be Mr. Shannon.
Hello, Board. Before I start complaining, I'd actually like to ask a question about the egg and the honeybee amendment that was up that got tabled for tonight. I'm wondering the intent of that. If it's to give people with 1 acre of land the option to have chickens or honeybees, or if it's more intended for the 1/4 of an acre lots in town. If anybody can answer that.
To be honest with you, we wanted a little more information ourselves, which is why we tabled it, to research it a little bit more, because this goes through a few committees. The Environment Committee goes through, a few other committees. So the reason we tabled it was for a little more research, because there's a lot of things on one line item, and that's one of those things where we want separate because it deserves so much attention.
If I could make a suggestion, I am of the mind that people with a quarter of an acre of land in Homer Township or Homer Glen proper should probably have the same opportunity as somebody with a larger lot. The way that it's written now, the setbacks for all four corners are set for 50 feet, which would be ostensibly 10,000 square foot, which would be a quarter of an acre. So I would suggest that maybe it should be scaled back to about 25 feet, which would give a quarter of an acre the same opportunity as somebody with an acre lot. That's it.
Thank you. Next would be Rich Sweeney. Rich, are you coming up here for a variance that you've got going?
You know, I think I misunderstood from the last time I was here about the variance. They said that the next meeting was today, and I don't know if I...
You're on it. You're on the agenda.
Okay, so I didn't know if I needed to be here?
You are. You're good. This is public comment, so if they have questions for you, you know, look up during the agenda item.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Next would be Sharon Suisse.
Thank you, Mayor. The duties of the village board members are to uphold the ordinances and laws of the village and not to keep amending them to appease certain entities. For example, the township office is planning to upgrade their lighting. That lighting comes under the jurisdiction of the village. The township plans on using the ComEd efficiency program. This program uses lighting fixtures that are in direct violation of the lighting ordinance. Changes to that law will threaten the village's status as a dark sky community, and variances to that ordinance were never given by any previous board. A prime example of changes being made to appease certain entities is also the change to the 2017 ordinance number 29, excuse me, which prohibited video gaming in gas stations. The original ordinance was put in place to protect the revenue stream from gaming for our local restaurants and bars. But in 2021, the ordinance was amended by Ruben Pazmino, Cheryl Rose Reiners, Dan Fialco, and Jennifer Consolino. This change now allowed video gaming in licensed truck stop establishments. One might ask, why did these four trustees change the law soon after taking office? Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Next would be Barack Backel.
Thank you, Mayor. Character is defined by what you do when nobody is watching. During the last election in Homer, I ran for trustee with Keith Gray and Carlo Caprio. During that time, a very substantial offer for a donation was made to our campaign from the owner of Gas and Wash. Keith Gray, Carlo Caprio, and myself discussed this offer and graciously refused his donation. No favors were asked of us at that time. However, the three of us knew that at some point, strings may be attached to his generosity. But let me be very clear. The owner of Gas and Wash broke no laws. He can make campaign donations to whomever he wants to, whenever he wants to, for any reason that he may or may not disclose. Keith, Carl, and I were more concerned with our integrity and our commitment to both the residents and the businesses of Homer Glen. All businesses, not just those that may or may not contribute to a campaign. Because of this, we had a policy that we would not accept large donations from Homer businesses. What I'm about to tell you is disturbing and should concern every resident of Homer Glen. Trustee Ruben Pazmino is the money man behind this particular village board. He and Steve Ballich paid to get this current board elected. On or about the same time that we were offered this generous donation from the owner of Gas and Wash, which we declined, Steve Ballich and Trustee Ruben Pazmino took this campaign donation from Gas and Wash in order to elect Cheryl Rose Renders, Dan Fialco, Jennifer Constantino, and Nicole Laha. There's currently an ordinance 17-049, which was passed by this village board on July 26, 2017, that prohibits video gaming at automobile service stations in Homer Glen. The intent of this ordinance is very clear. There is zero ambiguity to its intent. There shall be no video gaming allowed at gas stations in Homer Glen. However, you put 5 crooked politicians and a shifty attorney behind closed doors, and you change auto service station to truck stop, and then you pass a new ordinance 21-056 on December 20th, 2021, amending sections to the code that now allow video gaming at gas and wash. And voila, a campaign donation is paid back in spades to the detriment of the residents of Homer Glen and every bar and restaurant that depends on gaming to keep their doors open. This was not a coincidence. This was a deliberate quid pro quo. Remember, character is defined by what you do when no one is watching.
You have 30 seconds.
This is the government that we now have, and if you think it's going to get better with more Steve Balich, Ruben Pazmino, Cheryl Rose Render approved slates, you're sadly mistaken. It will only get worse.
Mayor, can I say something, please?
For the record, we've never accepted any donation from Gas and Wash, so you're a liar. Well, we've always known you're a liar, but now you've proved it. Thank you.
This is public comment.
And I'm publicly commenting he's a liar. Brock Backel.
And also,
Bias right now, so no, it's, the next one would be Mike Carlson.
yeah, electioneering, yeah,
I wonder who put him up to say that.
yeah.
Wow, I just changed my whole story for tonight. Brock, man, you are a liar. Holy cow. You sat there and you had, they appointed you as a trustee, and then they appointed you again, and then it was time for the public to vote, and they said, get the hell out of here. And that's what they did, because they know you're a liar. How could you put this board? And then I watched the video of you bawling your eyes out. I did everything I could. You know what? If we didn't have those machines in gas stations, we'd be paying higher taxes.
Mike, you're up here to...
What they did was great. This is, I've seen board people through here for many, many years. Ruben and everybody on this board has done an excellent job in this town, and we kept our taxes down, and we kept everything that we always wanted in this town. Things that he couldn't do, they did. You're not right.
Okay, that's it for public comment.
Oh my God, this is pathetic.
Okay. Reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I'll start off. I actually have no comment for right now, so we'll go to the trustees. Trustee Consolino.
Oh, goody. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope that everyone had a great holiday season with their family and their friends. I am very hopeful that this new year is going to bring our community closer together so that we can all work together to prosper in these strained economic times. I'd like to report that both the Environment and the Public Safety Committees met this month. Environment came up with tentative dates that we're looking to approve for this year's upcoming events, like stargazing, little seedlings, and land stay cleanup. We discussed the Memorial Tree and Bench program to honor family and friends of our residents. Most of all of our surrounding towns offer this to their community, and we would like to bring this program before the board, and hopefully in the spring. Everyone on our committee is so excited about this, and finally having the ability to possibly offer this to our residents. So we're hoping to finish up the details and bring it to the board soon for review. Public Safety met, and we amended some verbiage with SOP3 regarding chain of command, and we discussed if there was any need to address our current leaf burning permits. Kudos were given to both our Public Works personnel and our EMA volunteers for their work during our first blizzard over the holidays. I would like to say thank you to the Homer Township Road District as well. Without all of these personnel providing their support services, we weathered the storm as best we could with very little complaints. We're currently awaiting reports from the Will County Sheriff's Department, and we will be using some of this data for the new Community Safeguard Subcommittee. Unfortunately, we did not have enough members for quorum this week with the new Community Safeguard Committee. However, we did develop our mission statement, our purpose, and possible task list, so please stay tuned. Now, I know that our village manager will be touching base on this issue tonight as well. We had a very serious and scary issue with our garbage situation. The past few weeks, we have had 2 garbage trucks catch on fire as a result of residents throwing out lithium batteries. Village has created a social media post and will be posting information on the village website to educate our residents on the proper disposal of all lithium batteries and what products actually contain them. Village Manor will also try to work with New Way Garbage Disposal to possibly look into stickers to being placed on the garbage cans to better inform and remind residents of what is actually recyclable by New Way. I would also like to ask that everyone please take the time to review and look up the measures to properly dispose of the lithium batteries. Sadly, this is a very serious and increasing issue. It's not just happening here in Homer Glen. So please educate yourselves on these batteries, not just to protect our garbage men from harm, but yourselves as well. If they can explode in a garbage truck or a garbage facility, they can explode in your home or in your garbage can as well. Now, tonight, I'd also like to personally address the comments that I continue to endure by Mayor George Yukich, Trustee Beth Rogers, and Clerk Christina Nechke-Trake. Meeting after meeting for the past 20 months, whenever I have stated on the board or provided evidence of misconduct, violations of ordinances, or demonstrations of their unethical behavior, each of these officials have stated that I was a liar without any proof. When I make these statements, I provide examples and facts. I've had the mayor repeatedly call me nasty names, scream at me to shut up, and try to intimidate me into silence. I've had the clerk tell me to please stop lying about her. I've had a number of their campaign associates get up at public comment and harass at me, scream at me, and make false accusations. As a result, I cannot safely have my family or even my child attend our village board meetings. This is the price that I pay for telling the truth. Therefore, tonight, I would like to go on the record and invite our residents to FOIA my village emails regarding misconduct by Clerk Nechke-Trake, Mayor George Yukich, and Trustee Beth Rogers. Unfortunately, I cannot just share the information out there unless it's FOIA'd. Once my village emails are properly FOIA'd, reviewed, and probably redacted for legal reasons, they become public information for anyone to see. We have a very important mayoral and village board election coming up in April, in case you haven't noticed. You have people sitting on this board that are running as candidates in this election, and you also have people on this board campaigning for these candidates. I think it's extremely important to have transparency. I've done my best to provide this at nearly every single board meeting. It's why I was elected in 2021 over 3 of George Yukich's incumbent trustees, including Mr. Backel. Residents and voters of Homer Glen have a right to see exactly who and what they are voting for, no matter how many times I have to be called a liar or other derogatory names for putting the truth out there. I invite and welcome our Homer Glen residents to FOIA my village emails to and from these 3 government officials regarding their official misconduct and unethical behavior. This way you can all see for yourselves who exactly is lying. I have a plethora of documentation referencing their misconduct from the first day of my term on May 12th, 2021 through present day. These are the dates I welcome you to FOIA. It's my entire time in office as a trustee. You should be able to see my personal FOIAs of these 3 officials as well. If you're willing to take the time to do the FOIA, you will see the misconduct for yourself. Anyone can go to our village website and you'll find the FOIA form to fill out, or you can submit a simple email online to the FOIA officer. Once the FOIA has gone through the proper procedures and has been reviewed, redacted, and approved by our legal counsel, those emails then become public. This means that I can publicly post them, or anyone can publicly post them. Truth and transparency, Homer Glen. Early voting will start at the end of February. Please do your research on who our candidates are for this election. Please come out and vote. Homer Glen has over 25,000 residents, and normally 2,000 or less voters participate in our local elections. As a result, roughly 8% of our residents control the fate of our local government for almost 25,000 people. Please register to vote and use your voice to choose who you want to run Homer Glen. That's my report.
For the record, you can FOIA me till you're dead, because I've never put one through. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of the lawyer's time, a waste of the taxpayers' money, but you just keep doing what you're doing. So, next one would be Trustee Rogers.
The Homer Glen American Legion is hosting a fundraiser on March 19th for St. Patrick's Day from 4 to 7. It includes a corned beef dinner, a cash bar. They are limited tickets. There's 100 tickets that are available. If you're interested in this, I highly encourage you to attend. It's just a great way to see these men and their camaraderie that they have with one another, and it really is truly heartwarming. So if it's something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to me. I will put you in touch with the commander over there, and we can get you the tickets. So he's not real email-y, so I try to help him out whenever I can. I want to say also that the snow, the roads were great. I live in a somewhat rural area, so we tend to get bad snow because there's so many fields that go back and forth. And I was out and about all 3 days and never had any issues. So you both did really great jobs. Relative to the FOIAs, I 100% encourage you. Give me a call, I'll give you the dates so that you're not bothering the clerk's office so much. Happy to do that. I also have documents that were given to me personally from various employees and things like that. Happy to share those as well. I've always been very open and I welcome it, but I do feel bad for the clerk and the assistant clerk and the amount of work that they have to do with these FOIAs and the money that's being spent to have an attorney review FOIAs now for the first time ever is getting out of hand as well. On the website, there's underneath the FOIAs, you can click and look at every single thing that's been FOIA'd for, there's a timeline of who's FOIAing, what they're FOIAing, and I encourage you to do that as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Pasquino.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the Behavioral Health and Awareness Committee. We did have a committee meeting coming up this week, but we do have to move it over to January 23rd. Very excited about this committee because it is something that we truly, truly have always needed in Homer Glen. Drugs are a pandemic here, and we need to address it. And this committee, thanks to Joe Baver and a few other people that brought it out and brought it to our attention, we're moving forward with it. And we're very excited that we're moving forward with something like this, just beyond words. One of the things that I also wanted to mention, thank you very much, Public Works, for all your hard work, getting our streets nice and clean. It was quick, it was fast, and it was amazing. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I really wanted to start the first meeting of the new year in a positive way, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I just really want to say, I just came back from vacation. I was in another country, and as nice as it was, flying into Chicago, then driving into Homer Glen, there's no town like this town. Homer Glen is an amazing village. I love it with all my heart, and I will never leave, and I will do everything that I can in my power to make sure that Homer Glen goes to the skies. One of those things is making sure that Homer Glen can afford to exist. So what do we have to do to make those things happen? We have to make certain moves. We have to make certain decisions. One of those decisions that we did make as the current board, the majority at least, was for Lenny's Gas and Wash to have gaming. Let's not forget that that money does not come into our pockets as trustees, it comes into the village so that the village could afford certain things and we don't have to dig into your pockets on your property taxes. That's a lot of things that a lot of the people at the podium today forgot. There was no payoff today. That was a blatant lie. We as trustees, could you imagine if every decision that we made here, somebody had to pay for it? There have been contracts that have been put through the prior administrations, Guys, at the end of the day, there are difficult decisions to make. Gaming, it's just like anything else. It's like alcohol, cigarettes. It's one of those things, if you choose not to do it, then don't do it. Do something else. Now, fortunately, the gaming system that we have here in Homer Glen, we extended it to Lenny's. The mayor decided not to give it to Lenny's, even though Lenny's is all the way on the outskirts of town, does not affect any of the other businesses. I have a gaming business. It didn't affect me. If you want to go to a gaming business, you're going to go there because you like the bartender, or you like the drinks, or you like this, you like that. Gaming is gaming. So are we not going to open any more restaurants? Are we not going to open any more gas stations? Are we not going to open anything else because we're afraid that, you know, the existing ones are going to get hurt? No. So, ladies and gentlemen, the accusations that were made today by Mr. Brock Backel were false, and the man needs to be reprimanded for that. I'm very sorry. He insinuated that people on this board took bribes. You are wrong. And of course, that's something you're going to say because you're a bitter, salty person. And you know what? Next time, run a better campaign, and you can sit here and you can, maybe you're the one that wants the checks. Who knows? But that's all I have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to work as hard as I can for this village until the day that you decide that I shouldn't. And then I'll go away. But until then, I'm going to do my best, and the majority of this board will do their best as well, because that's what they ran on, and that's what I ran with. And I will continue to do so until the end. Thank you. That's all I have.
Trustee Reiner.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to start off by saying that there are statutes in the state of Illinois.
Rosie, can you turn your mic on? There are statutes in the state of Illinois, and they define what a trustee responsibility is. We are the legislative body of the village. It is our responsibility to make laws and to amend laws. That's what we were elected to do. And if you read the statute, that's what the statute clearly states. Am I right, Attorney Horvath? With that, also, I keep getting all this pushback on my name. I'm being blasted all over social media because I don't use my first name. Well, can I say something? I am 68 years old, and in my 68 years, my parents have never called me Cheryl. They have always called me Rose. So therefore, I don't see what it is any of anybody's business or try to point out continuously that I am doing something wrong by not using my first name. I think I work pretty damn hard for this village, and in coming at me day after day because I don't use my first name, I think you people have too much time on your hands. And with that, I would like to say, as 2023 begins, I would like to take this time to really thank our administrative staff and our trustees for the amazing job that they have done this year for the betterment of our community. It was a pleasure working together with all of you on different projects and events. As I look forward to the coming year, I can only anticipate another successful year of working together to move Homer forward. We are blessed to have such an amazing team. On to the senior committee. Tuesday was another successful bingo. We are averaging around 100 people per event. This year, we are adding a featured speaker. Before each one of the bingos start, we're bringing somebody in that can give a little bit of education and updates on services that are available to the seniors. So in February, our speaker will be, there's a gentleman at the Lockport Township, and he is with the services for seniors regarding veterans. And we will be bringing him in as a speaker in February. And then in February, actually the seniors will be attending a brunch/bingo at Blueberry Hill. And in March, we will be doing the senior tea at Taza. The calendar of events for the seniors is now available on the township website, thank God, because we were getting a lot of questioning on when that was going to happen. So that is up there now, and you'll be able to go and take a look at what the events are coming forward. On Monday, our CED committee was very short and sweet. We actually just reviewed some of our grant options for the program for our businesses, and we also even
talked, even if we would need something for a mechanical grant program. And this will allow the businesses moving forward with inflation hitting everybody. There's a lot of businesses that are suffering out there and can't afford to buy the equipment that they need or replace the equipment that they need. So that's just something that we're looking into to see if that's even feasible or if there's any other municipalities that actually do that. And tomorrow we will be hosting a meeting for the subcommittee of the CED committee to review the 7 proposals that we got regarding the town center. So after that, we will be bringing that back to the board for board approval once we choose a land planner. Parade meeting is tomorrow. The parade is scheduled for June 24th with a rain date of June 25th. If anybody has anybody that they think would be interested in participating in the parade, please contact myself or Vicki Bozen. And that is my report.
You, Trustee Fialko?
All right. Oh, I wish I had a joke to share tonight, but I did not prepare to do that. I will say Happy New Year to everybody. I'd like to also thank Public Works for taking care of the roads when we can't go out. You guys are out there taking care of everything. Maybe a few of you had seen the post I put out there. So thank you for taking care of the roads. I'm just kind of saying the same thing everybody else has also said tonight when it comes to the roads. As far as for the fest, I'd like to just let everybody know there's been a lot of questions. All the bands have been secured. We've got contracts out to the 12 bands. We'll have three bands performing on each of the nights. It'll be June 22nd, June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Each of those days, we'll have 3 bands. What we tried to do is take care of local talent. We tried to put a show together, and then we try to have drink dance music at the end. So as those contracts come back and they're all signed, I hope by February, by February's meeting, maybe the second meeting this month, I'm not sure. But as soon as we have all those contracts come back, we will release the list of all the bands that'll be playing. I think you're going to be pretty excited about what we've got going and the layout for this year. There's going to be an open stage. It's in the packet today if you want to take a look at it. Maybe we could show it when that packet comes up. But I'm going to encourage everybody to bring your lawn chairs and your blankets. That's the hint. When you see the stage, you'll know why I'm saying that. Sharon Swees. I don't go on Facebook and I don't follow all the trolls and all the things that they like to say out there. I don't have the time for it. But Sharon, you were at the meeting the other day for the township and you read, maybe you didn't read it, but the lighting that they're talking about taking care of is inside. So I don't know if you missed that part or not, but I know you want to throw people under the bus to make yourself look better.
I'm not throwing people under the bus.
But it is not your time to speak, ma'am. So the thing is, read the thing completely, talk with people about it, and maybe you can work something out. It's not done yet, but if something affects you, my job, my whole life was to keep the lights on. Your whole time as a trustee was to keep the lights almost off. I like to be able to see my shoes when I walk in a store. So what you like doesn't mean everybody else liked it. So the thing is, it's all well and good, but nobody, things will be changed across time, but I don't know, I've never heard anybody here about changing that ordinance, which could be done because a lot of times things change and people change and the environment changes which we live in and different things are required. But just so everybody knows, that's never been talked about or on the table. So I don't know whether to feel sorry for you or give you a hug, but I also just want to tell you, you talk about costs and everything. You've racked up a bill with the law firm so far of $1,300 for your FOIAs. So you talk about wasting money and doing things and you come up to the podium and spew all your venom. It's terrible to hear you talk like that because I would rather you come and say, hey, Dan, hey, Mike Bonoma, how can I help you guys out? That's what I expected. But remember one thing, the public fired you. We didn't have anything to do with it. The public fired you.
No.
Now when I go on to Mr. Backel, when you accuse this board of taking money, I want the public to know you can go on the website and you can see where donations were made and see that that man right there was lying. And the other thing is, I got to get to this, I'll get to the second part. you can take and look up that information to see where donations were made. And you came up here last time bullying. You talk about bullying. You're the one trying to bully everybody. I don't know what's wrong with you, but the thing is, you talk about bullying. When it comes to the Stallions, you took and dropped 4-letter words on people when you weren't happy when your son didn't get to play properly. When I was turning into my subdivision not too long ago, you dropped a 4-letter word out your window at me for no reason. I don't even know you that well. I wish you would take the time to come and know me or get to know me. But the thing is, you take and you come up to this podium and you say things. As far as gaming, guess what? With gaming, we were able, in front of us was a tax increase of $3.7 million that last in 2022 that we took off the board. So we took and introduced gaming because it's in the far southwest quadrant of this thing. And the requirements for that gas station makes it so like no other gas station could do that. But we saved money that way by not raising taxes and bringing gaming in. You may not have liked that, and the way you voted last time when you did double taxation with your representation, guess what? We didn't do that. We did not tax the people. We tried to roll up our sleeves and come up with another way. But you want to come up to this podium and spill your venom out all over the place, and guess what? You were never elected. You were appointed as a lapdog for the mayor. And you know what? You know who fired you? Not this board. The public fired you too. So you two people that come up here and spill all your venom at the podium every month, the public fired you. Nobody else did. So maybe you could look at yourselves in the mirror, both of you, and say, hey, what could I do different? What could I have done differently to improve the village where the people would not have fired me? So that's what it comes down to. If you want to sit and talk with me at any time about anything I voted on, our voting records are public, open to the public. You can see all the things we've done for businesses and what we've done for residents, and we kept taxes low by not doing the things that you did. And that's why you're not here anymore. So go home, look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe you could talk to yourself and find out what's wrong with the man inside, and then you can fix it from there. But nevertheless, I don't want to keep going on, and I'm sorry that I had to start off this way, but when you two come to the podium and do what you do, it's hard to sit and just take your abuse for no reason. It's uncalled for what you do. I know it's election time. I know you both lost and the public fired the both of you, but now you got to come up here and do what you do. But it's ridiculous what you're doing. How about embracing a committee or coming and talking to one of us and say, hey, how can I help out? I got a little experience. I was appointed. I was elected. How can I help? But you don't do that. You just don't got your negative stuff every time. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible for this village, what you're trying to do and what you're trying to portray. I'm asking you to be better citizens and better residents, and let's work together.
You mean the way that you were better to Bobby when you abused her at the fest? I was there.
No, there's a witness, and you're full of it. You don't know what you're talking about. You're lying once again. If you'd like to sit down and talk about it, we could talk about it after the meeting if you like, and then I can correct you with your incorrectness again, or your lies, however you want to put it. But the thing is, it's not your time to talk, so please don't. Other than that, Happy New Year, everybody.
Please don't forget about Nicole.
And Nikki, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, everybody. Sorry about the moment. I miss everybody a lot. I miss being home. As you know, in December, I was away for 14 days, competing against the world. And for the last 12 days, I've been in Springfield working. So if I could be there, I absolutely would. I do. I miss you all very much. I've been keeping up to date, and last night they had the Ability Awareness Committee meeting. I'm proud that they were able to have that. Carmen, thank you so much for helping with that. I really appreciate your generosity and stepping in when, sometimes things come up and we can't control the schedule, but I'm working hard still. The Ability Awareness Committee will be having a roundtable discussion on January 17th. ARC will be with us, and they will be discussing all the services that they provide for our community and what
you. Next will be village clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I really have to say is, Trustee Pasmino, I couldn't agree with you more. Coming into this board meeting today for the new year, I was kind of hoping for a new vibe or a new temperament in this room, but apparently that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. After Mr. Backel did speak, though, I did hear comments by you and Trustee Reinders saying, oh, electioneering, or I wonder who put them up to that. I will let you know that I've had numerous amount of residents contact me saying that they want to say something negative. They want to come to the podium and say something, and I repeatedly tell people not to, just for exact reasons for what you guys just did. You pointed the finger at me, and that is not what I asked residents to do. I didn't ask Brock to do this. I never asked him to. I didn't even know about a donation or not a donation. I still don't even know what was exactly said. And Trustee Fielko, I agree with you. You get to a point where you have to kind of speak back and defend yourself when people come at you constantly. I've sat on this board for 2 years and listened to Trustee Consolino constantly attack me, and I've never rebutted. I mean, I just don't want to engage in these silly games. This is a total embarrassment to our village, guys. We're better than this. I mean, even the residents, I mean, for everybody, we're better than this. We should be, Trustee Fielko again, I mean, yes, you're right. We should be helping each other. We should be working together. Unfortunately, that kind of goes both ways, though. We have to work with each other, not just with one side. Jennifer, I do agree. I want residents to FOIA. Trustee Fielko, you mentioned that Sharon Suisse cost us $1,300. Trustee Consolino cost us $2,038, and one FOIA alone. So when you FOIA residents, when Jennifer's encouraged you to waste our time, our staff's time, and our money, be mindful of what it costs and how much time it takes our staff to do this. It's not free, it's not easy, especially when you have to bring in attorneys to do this. I mean it. From here on out, this board needs to start working together. It needs to stop here. Yes, the election is coming. I've seen a lot of electioneering going on here. It needs to stop, all of it. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
It's like the Emmy music at the end. Like,
Carmen, did you say 8 o'clock?
She's texting me, and she doesn't want her to text me, so can you let Nicole know that I can't help her? She needs to text you if she needs help.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, I'm just going to state for the record it's 7:47, and Nicole has left the meeting, but we'll return at 8.
Thank you.
All right, next will be village attorneys. Eric?
No report, Your Honor.
Gary?
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Next will be public officials.
No report.
Next will be village manager.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Kind of excited about this new year coming up. There's a lot of good ideas coming around. I think all the committees are in full swing. It looks like they're all getting excited about their new calendar year, and they're, with some of the changes that I've seen with some of the committees and what's going to happen. I'm really excited about this year. I got to say, I can't wait to get involved and get engaged and have a good year. So, just a few items that I want to address. Public Works did a great job cleaning up. We do get a lot of calls. My street didn't get plowed. When are you going to come out and plow my street? We help everybody as much as we can. We do face some problems when there's cars in the street, and we all understand that sometimes when we're sleeping it snowfalls. But if you guys get up in the morning, you see your cars out on the street, and the street hasn't been plowed, it's because we can't get our trucks through. So if you guys could just keep conscious of our road district, our Public Works Department, to make sure that those cars are off the road so we can get in there and clean them up, that'd be awesome. It helps us out, helps you guys out, and we can say thank you to the Public Works for all the hard work they do. So. The other thing I'd like to talk about is our sports organization field and faculty use contracts are up on the website. I know soccer and baseball have filled them out. I know pickleball is getting ready to introduce their season for the year. And we're also looking forward to football letting us know what's going on with their season for the year. So we're looking forward. I'm excited. I can't wait to start seeing the baseball field being used again. I actually love going out there and watching some games. I also like to watch the football, and it's even nice to get out there on a Sunday and watch soccer. So when we get all ready to go, I'm really excited about it. I think this village really can embrace our children. We've been doing it for many, many years. I myself played in both sports, HAC and Stallions, so I'm really excited to see the kids do a good job this year. So the other thing I'd like to say is we're going to look for some volunteers for all our upcoming events. I know as it gets down to crunch time for all the high school students in the area, they got to get their community service hours in. This is a great opportunity. So if we can get anybody that's, has a teenager that needs to get those 40 hours for high school, come out and volunteer. We got plenty of spots. You can go to the homerglen.il.org and you can sign up and we will slot you in on a volunteer for one of our events because we do a lot throughout the year. So. And we're excited about that. That agenda will be put out next meeting, and you guys can see what all our new exciting events that we'll be doing this year. So, the other thing is Trustee Consolino touched base a little bit about our truck fire, our garbage truck fire. He did have to dump in the middle of one of our roads. Public Works was notified right away to help them out. Fire got right on top of it, and it was extinguished pretty quick. He ended up saving a $500,000 truck, so we did get a little damage on our street, but they were out there cleaning up and repairing and took care of it for us. So if we could just be conscious of what we're throwing in. That was a recycle truck, so it could have been an aerosol can, it could have been a lithium-ion battery, stuff that's not really recyclable. We try to keep plastic and cardboard and stuff like that in there. So if we could just be conscious out there for our garbage men, that would be great. And that's all I have to report, Mayor.
Thanks, sir. We're into the consent agenda. We only have one thing. Consider for approval the accounts payable for the period of December 18, 2022 to January 12, 2023 in the amount of $671,307.50. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
And Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Trustee Fialko, you made the motion, and Trustee Pazmino, second?
Yes.
Okay, next legislation in action. First one is consider for approval payment of the November legal bills to legislative attorney Olson, Sturk, Murphy, Frazier, McGrath, limited to the amount of $9,930.07.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
And Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Carries. Next, consider for approval payment of the November 2022 Mahoney Silverman Trust LLC legal bills in an amount of $3,022.50.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
And Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3, consider for approval ordinance number 23-001. A request for 1, variance to reduce the corner side yard building setback from the required 30 feet to 19 feet. And number 2, a variance to reduce the required lot width for a corner lot from the required 130 feet to 82 feet for certain real property located in the R3 single-family residential district at 12211 West Spring Lake Drive, Homer Glen, Illinois, HG 228-2.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Maybe we could start with Melissa. Could you, yeah, you knew that was coming, right? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Maybe you could help us out with this one. The things that I do, I read the whole packet, and I see that the Planning Commission voted 7-0 to adopt. But some of the questions, we did have a lot of questions from the residents that were concerned with the position, and I know some things have changed. You sent us the new drawings. I received those. But can you tell me, for one, I'd like to point out this is on a dead-end road, so everybody knows.
Triangle lot.
And the lot is an odd shape. it isn't like a perfectly
Rectangle.
It's by no means easy to work with. And as far as I know, this is there's no house that was there before this.
Brand new house.
This brand new
Vacant
house,
lot.
no house had been on this property before, right?
Correct.
Didn't take one down in the past or, okay.
Correct.
So this is a brand new house. And if you could help us out from there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can just walk you through what had been presented to staff, which is, this drawing is a little confusing because there's a lot going on, but the black footprint that's kind of grayed out on the bottom, like kind of underneath everything else, was what was presented to staff. And then at Plan Commission, we had presented another version of this where the building moved to the east, further back. It was a little bit further to the east than what's shown here in blue. It was basically to provide for 20 feet of private parking of a car on the driveway to make sure that there was enough space to park a car. During Plan Commission, one of the Plan Commission members recommended that we line up I guess it would be the south corner of the home, where the blue line is at the corner down there on the south side, with the back of the neighbor's property. So you can see where there's a pink line that lines those two things up. And the public and the Plan Commission seemed generally okay with this change. It shifted the building back then to the north a few feet. It was about 2 or 3 feet back west. That was a little confusing to the public. We had to go back through an explanation to kind of explain that it was still moving east from where they had originally wanted it, which was the black lines. But it was more or less to kind of find a happy medium for both the petitioner as well as the public. The orange line on this drawing shows you where it would have to be if it met code. So, and even actually in this condition, it doesn't meet code because it really trips the rear setback. Like, so that you'd have to provide 40 feet of rear, and this still trips and requires a variance for the rear yard because it doesn't provide enough rear yard. So it's just a really awkward lot. This also is a ranch home, so it does have probably a little bit larger of a footprint than a normal 2-story house, but staff also did not feel like the size of the house was really excessive in nature. So I know that there were neighbors to the north that had issues with this. They built under Will County's regulations and were not given any leniency. They worked really hard to try to fit their home, and their house is kind of oriented weird, and they probably don't have as much backyard as they would have wished to have.
When you say the neighbor to the north, do you mean the one with the PIN number ending in 30,000, just north of Spring Lake Drive?
It is just north, right across. They also have a pie-shaped lot, very similar to this one.
On that one, I can't see I know the front door was a concern of some during public comment during at Planning Commission. Right now, the way it stands, is the front door open? Is the front door facing towards Allison?
It is, correct.
Okay. Was there any effort made to try and work with the design and make the front door, come out on Spring Lake where it kind of has more flow with?
I think that so there were differing opinions about which street frontage would be more important to be consistent with. And there was inconsistency with even some of the neighbors. There were neighbors that did not want it to front Spring Lake. There were other neighbors that would prefer it to front Spring Lake. There were plan commissioners that felt differently. I think there are definitely differing opinions about which one is, definitely Allison is the more dominant streetscape from a planning perspective. That's where most of your houses are facing, including the house to the north faces out towards Allison as well. So it is just, I feel awkward all around.
It's just an awkward.
It's an awkward lot. And actually, one of the plan commissioners owned this lot.
What it does is it does complement the one to the north, though. It kind of comes out on that smaller portion of the lot itself. Is there any plans? We've had this before come up on 151st Street, but there's no plans to connect Spring Lake to continue it into one of the adjoining subdivisions,
There
right?
are lots to the east, and development, when that went in, there was supposed to be a stub that went through and it did not. It was signed off by the village to cut that off.
To not stub it out?
Correct, and there's no,
So
there are lots and
will never
homes.
be accessed
No.
as a through road, correct?
They're short of somebody selling lots and them demolishing and all that coming back through the village board. I seriously doubt that that would happen.
I can't see the room for it.
So I had a
They
question.
can't, they did, this owner, I believe it was this owner, contacted the village a long time ago looking and asking about us vacating this right of way and like these two owners being able to split the rest of that. But there's a hydrant at the end of this street that is serviced, and it is at, like, the fire department accesses it for lots of access to the houses around this area, so it would be difficult for us to do that and vacate this area.
Melissa, I had a question.
Completely.
All right, really quick. They mentioned that they were non-compliant with the covenant.
They are
the HOA.
compliant. We did pull them.
So they are compliant?
Yeah, I did pull a signed copy off of the Will County's recorder database, and we did check the setbacks, and they are compliant with what's in the covenant. The
I saw it
covenant
mentioned throughout.
Setbacks are different than our covenants, or our codes, but they do meet those regulations. The covenants also call out a 40-foot rear setback.
Do they have an active HOA?
They do not.
Then the covenants are...
They don't, really all the owners would have to get together and sue, I think is how that would work. Is that how that works? I don't even know.
These are private covenants?
Yeah, they'd be private covenants, and there's no active HOA. Yeah.
So there's no workaround, like, as far as, maybe, I don't know, Joe, or if you talk to, the developer or the resident saying if they could move it up a little or kind of move it, or are they dead center, they're dead with the location, the exact location of that house on that property?
Well, I think the only real option would be to continue to move it east, which would, it's because the front's not being affected, it's just that corner side yard off of Spring Lake, the angled road.
Right.
And the more east you move it, the more feet that comes down.
Yeah.
So.
There is a hardship here with the size of the lot.
And really, because of the angles on property, the more you move it, if you move it back 5, you're only going to get really like a foot. It's just part of that, like the proportions of that type of layout. The owner of the lot is here tonight if you have questions.
You don't have a picture of the house, Melissa?
I do think I had circulated them. I did not make copies.
So as far as the...
It's all brick, it's a ranch, it's pretty typical, it's more standard architecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
The residence directly behind, looks like where it would be right behind the one ending in 24,000. The rear of the house, how far, I have to show you. This point here, how far is that point to the closest physical piece of the property right next door to it?
Both of those homes are set back 10 feet off the property line.
There's only 10 feet
Correct.
between, wow.
This code, this district, it requires 25-foot aggregate for side yards. So like if you have a traditional lot, you could do 15 and 10, or you could do 12 and a half and 12 and a half. Neither of those can be less than 10.
Okay.
So that's why the neighbor on the property probably has a larger setback on the opposite side of their house. On this side, they have 10, and then this one, this proposed, also has 10. Both meet code.
So the total is actually, it would be 10 feet on the neighbor to the south and 10 feet on their side, so a total of 20 feet. Now I like to go out on I hadn't been out there. You've been out there, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
You can walk
on this property?
With the set, do you think it needs to be tweaked though? I'm looking for your professional opinion.
I think when they first came in, it was 10. And we were recommending 20, now it's to 19. I mean, I think it's reasonable. I do think the slope, John Hand had brought up, the slope drops off pretty back in the back of the property. There are some trees back there. I think owners do reasonable use of land, especially in the rear property. If you look at where this house is located compared to some of the other lots along the street that have larger backyards. I mean, this neighborhood's kind of weird though, because there are some smaller lots that don't have they're not very deep at all. Actually, they have very limited backyards, but I understand the struggle.
They speak about drainage as well. Is that an issue?
They just asked if it had to go through full grading review, and we said yes, it does.
Okay.
Well, as I had discussed with you and Carmen, it is a buildable lot. It's just, it's the house that they want to build is what the issue is. That's why for me, in the amount of pushback from the residents, why for me, it's hard for me to grant a variance when I don't see a hardship because they just can't build this particular house. If there's modifications made, they could build that house. And there was so many residents that showed up that weren't in favor of it, and you're saying at the end they were, but I didn't see that. So it's hard for me.
Was there talk to push that? I mean, because and I understand this neighbor, the way their house has to then look at that, and they're probably used to seeing that empty lot, and anytime any piece of land gets something built on it, and it takes away somebody's view, it does have an effect on that person whose view is being affected. Now, to me, to escape the criticisms of looking out the window and the neighbors, why didn't they try to push it as far to the northeast as possible with the same thing? Does the terrain stop? Because again, I haven't been out there. Did the terrain stop them from moving it to the northeast?
It does create a little complication. You can see the contouring on the front of the land is much more stretched out, and then off the back it kind of drops off on a hill. I do think it would be challenging. I think that they would likely they would have had to change the entrance probably to the front. They would have wanted all the rear of the property to be on that southeast side, like it would have been rear yard in the corner, which if you don't do that and operate and like orient your building with that on the back, then that becomes your side yard. It complicates where accessory structures can go. It makes things long-term complicated, but.
Well, now their yard is going to be,
I just think it's all awkward, yeah.
yeah, I mean, if they would have just turned the house where the garage was facing the Spring Road, it would have been so much different because they would have had a much bigger backyard and they wouldn't have been right.
Do you mean the front facing Spring Lake?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if the front was facing, if you just took that whole drawing and you just tilted it to the other way, where the garage would be facing Springvale.
I do think that would still put the rear yard on the side of their house. They would have to redo their architecture, I think.
Yeah, I think they would have gotten a lot more backyard. They would have had a lot more backyard. They wouldn't have been right on the lot line, on the 10-foot, if they would have turned it and it faced the other way.
You're being very patient at the podium.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right. First off,
I know what they're saying.
I don't know why the neighbors are against this. You know, the ones that were here. The only thing I can think of, the one person who was here, she says, "Oh, we own the subdivision." No, they don't own the subdivision. Her husband is a builder. I was going to hire him to build that house, and I didn't. And I think there's a little bit of retaliation.
Okay.
And that's why they were all here, because the way it is, I'm sorry, I don't know the east and the north and all that by standing here.
North is straight, yeah.
But the one neighbor was here and complained, "Oh, I'm going to look out the window and see the corner of his house." It doesn't matter where the house is, he's still going to see the corner.
Yeah.
The other neighbor says, "Oh, my house faces Spring Lake Drive, and I'm going to look at his garage." Her house does not face Spring Lake. She lied. The neighbor in the back says, "Oh, there's going to be flooding." There's not going to be no flooding because all the yards slope down and they go into a creek.
Culvert, yeah.
There is, and if I did put the yard or the front door facing Spring Lake Drive, you're going to drive down Allison, you're going to see the side of my house. It's going to be a sore thumb because everybody else's house faces Allison.
Okay.
And I don't really have to have, I wanted the garage, my door to be, my entrance door for the garage to be facing Spring Lake Drive. I don't have to have that. I can make the entrance come off of Allison along with my front door. I can do that.
Do you have enough square footage there? I mean, for it to
Yeah,
make a
well, it's only
driveway?
going to be, the house is going to be under 2,500 square foot. And we didn't, I'm 69, my wife is 68, we want a ranch home. We don't want to have steps.
What was it looked at, Melissa?
We talked about.
No, as far as the back of the house, if the back of the house faced east and west, and it was more centered to that lot, even though the driveway would go on kind of like an angle to Spring Lake, would it be better that was done, where the back of your house runs east and west, and it kind of takes you out of their window? That's seems to be a sore spot.
Well, the back of the house is not going to, if I do it this way, the back of the house ain't going to bother anybody.
No, I'm not, I know, well, I'm not concerned, well, when you move it to the back of the house to be east and west, it moves the front. So it would kind of, I don't know how many degrees that would be, it's not much.
Are you saying to turn it so it's exactly like this?
Yeah.
We did do that. It does push it, it just makes the rear yard really shallow because of the size of it and the pinch point with the triangle, it pushes that footprint further back.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what they had talked about, the plan commission, was moving the driveway, leaving the footprint how it is, not changing the architecture, but he can swap the driveway to access onto Allison. But then there were residents that said they didn't want that. I mean, it was just like all over the place. So that would be an easy fix for him, but I recommended that if they do that and really wanted to go down that route, that we would bring it back to plan commission, and we needed time to review it, because I wouldn't know if there were additional variances that needed to be granted because of the driveway. I think there may be.
Yeah.
So I don't think, that was not an easy thing to fix right there on that moment. We did discuss it, it was up for, so we just, yeah.
Melissa, is it 3,225 or is it 2,500? Because I'm hearing two different things.
The 3,200, I think, includes your garage space.
Yeah, because the house
The
is
heated square footage is what, 2,500?
it's like 24 something.
2,400 of heated and cooled air, yes. Mm-hmm.
2.
That should be fine then.
Vote? Passed everything so
I would say
far.
call the vote. Call the vote.
Any more questions, Dan? I feel like you have more questions.
If we send it back to planning commission to tweak it a little bit, then they don't have to repay. If we vote on it now, they got to repay a fee, correct?
I mean, that's up to the board.
No, I think.
If you vote on it now, it approves whatever is on.
If we voted yes.
If this is denied, though, I think there's there's language in the code that they can't come back through and ask for the same thing for like a year or a similar request. So I think if there's concern or you want us to look at the driveway relocation, or I just would like, if we're going to do that, I'd like some very constructive direction as to the options that we want to present to the Plan Commission.
I say we call a vote.
You know, again.
I didn't say anything, but a couple things that stood out on me here. The Planning Commission was all in favor, correct?
Correct.
And staff completed a full review and also found that the impervious is well within the allowable zoning
of
this district.
Yes.
Is there anything that really?
For me, no. That stood out, no.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like a major red flag on what's really going to inconvenience the other neighbors.
No,
I mean, of course, we always worry about flooding, but everything has to be submitted before the engineer with the grading. No, I'm okay with calling the vote.
I'm okay with calling the vote.
Also falls within the comprehensive plan, so, I mean.
And the conservation ordinance.
Yeah.
I think also it's for neighbors, it's hard when they've been fortunate to have this nice lot for all these years. It's an older subdivision, but people have a right to sell their property and build on it. So I think that might have been part of the contention that was going on, is they don't want anything there, no matter what it would be.
I do know
That's
that
just my
some
own
of the
opinion.
residents thought that this current owner had cleared the property. I think that happened with a different owner that had owned the land prior, so I think there was a lot of that going on.
We'll call the roll, but we said Nicole was going to be back on 8. Has anybody checked on her? It's 8:15. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
And Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
We are on J4, and can you make sure your microphone's on, Mayor? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Consider for approval ordinance number 23-002, an ordinance updating the Commercial Building Improvement Grant Program for fiscal year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Mayor, this is actually, we discussed this in the CED committee, and we wanted to make some changes so that there would be a little bit more money available to more businesses. We made a couple changes, and one of the changes was that we reduced the maximum grant award from $10,000 to $5,000, and also anybody that would, they had to have gross annual revenue not exceeding $2 million. So the committee discussed it, we all approved it, and that's why it's before the board tonight for approval.
I think the committee did a nice job on that, Rose. Some of the things we talked about last year, you guys brought to fruition.
Yeah.
And I think this still helps businesses, but it still, it makes it so more businesses are able to take advantage of it instead of a select few.
Yeah, we also reduced the amount of contractor bids that you had to get from 3 to 2. It was very difficult for some of the businesses to get those grants, to get those estimates, because a lot of the contractors, you know, they want to guarantee that they're going to be able to do the work. They don't want to come out and just give you an estimate, take the time, and put the effort in to do that. So we reduced it from 3 to 2, so that works.
No, you're doing a great job with it.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on it? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Rogers.
Aye.
Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Fialko.
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino.
Aye.
And Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next would be consider for approval the SWP Soundworks contract for the 2023 Homer Community Festival in the amount of $14,800.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Can you guys clarify who we just called? Because I heard.
Let Rose.
Just want to let everybody know that
Fialko and Rose.
we are within our budget, and matter of fact, we're $200 under budget for all the things that this covers. It covers 4 employees that will be there for the 4 days. It covers the sound, it covers the lighting, and it covers the stage. And that's the new exciting thing. If you go to the, I think it's the last page, that's going to be the stage for Homerfest. So again, I'm looking forward to Homerfest this year and trying something new. And being that we're trying something new, I know there's some people that say, well, what about this and what about that? And we never did it that, you know what, if this doesn't work out this year, we can always go back to the old way. But in the meantime, we're going to try something new. I'm encouraging everybody to bring their blankets and their lawn chairs. There'll still be tents out there that'll be peripheral to this to hold people if it rains. The thought was, if it rains with this stage, at least the sun will get to it and the wind or the breeze, and it'll dry this up a little bit better than when the rain comes down the side of the tent. When we got a band inside, it creeps into the tent and then it never dries up, and we've had a mud pit, you know, for the rest of the time after it rains. Yeah. So we're going to try this concept this year and see how it works out. I hope everybody's happy with it. And anyway, again, we're within budget on this item and all the things that it covers. Matter of fact, we're $200 under budget on this item.
Just want to say, Trustee Fialco, great job. You're always trying new things, and, you know, to evolve, you got to try new things. It doesn't work, you try something else, and that's how we move forward. Thank you, sir.
And we actually got a lot of positive feedback last year about the fest. I mean, everybody loved it.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, if I may. Manager Morella took the time to show the Ability Awareness Committee the setup for the special needs, and I think it's a great setup. I appreciate you guys thinking of the Ability Awareness Committee. He showed us where the tent would be and where everything for how there's, you know, access for wheelchairs or accessibility. So I just want to say thank you, and the committee really appreciated the new setup.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you know what I'd like to add to that, though, you know, as it evolves here, with Ability Awareness is a new committee within the village. Special Needs Day has been for a long time with the carnival, has taken and donated their time, their people, and their resources. We've bought the prizes when it comes to that day. Sue has been unbelievable with helping out in the process of the fest throughout the years. But what I'm saying is to the Ability Awareness group, you know, if you see something, come and talk to us. I can tell you this, nobody from Ability Awareness has been to any of the fest meetings this year that I know, well, not even, last year maybe one time, and it was for not even the whole meeting. So I encourage the Ability Awareness people, if you've got ideas, come out, talk to us. Let's not throw it on social media like has been happening, or coming to the podium, but not showing up to the meetings, not talking to the chair, sending emails to the mayor instead of the committee, coming and talking to us. We're very flexible. So we want to work with Ability Awareness. Please, I encourage you to keep in touch with us throughout the process. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I do want to respond to that because we were told that you were working with one specific person and didn't want the whole committee involved.
Never.
And then, okay, good, clarification, great, good, then we'll move forward. We did talk about it at the Ability Awareness meeting, how we wanted to just kind of do a joint meeting with the fest for a meeting or two, just to kind of talk about it, and we did send emails about the numbers and the findings that we had, or any issues we had from last year.
And as far as the people that donated food last year, we thank them at this board meeting, we thank them at committee, we thank them on the premises. I did read some minutes from the October minutes of the Ability Awareness that, I'm sorry to say, you said that nobody...
Those minutes were not approved, and they were corrected.
I'm still telling...
Right, but what you're stating...
correcting it for you, so you know that...
No, you didn't. You're actually, what you're saying is incorrect. That's what I'm trying to do, is correct you.
I'm telling you the minutes as they're...
Great for working
printed.
together.
The minutes as they're printed said that we did, and all I'm saying is that we did several times, that's all.
The minutes you read were not approved.
Well,
I brought them to Carmen's attention the other day, and I said, this needs to be corrected, because it wasn't corrected the 3 times it was told to be corrected.
all right, well...
Yes,
we'll
you
wait till
did
they
think.
correct it.
You
I'm
did.
looking forward to see that.
They were just actually
Can I make
approved
a
at the last board
suggestion
meeting.
that the comments be confined to the members of the Board of Trustee at this point in time? Okay?
I asked to speak, and I was granted permission. Thank you.
So that the roll call can be presented.
Call the roll, please.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino? Aye. Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
And Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6, consider for approval a motion authorizing the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement with the, what?
We're on J6.
6.
I'm sorry, J6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. Okay. Consider for approval a motion authorizing the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement with Will County for a household hazardous waste and electronics collection event on May 6th, 2023. It is understood that the village's contribution to Will County for the event will not exceed $7,500.
I would like to actually make the motion to send this back to committee. There's been some new findings, and we want to verify some things through committee. So my recommendation, understanding that there's some concern with this, is that I'm making the motion to send it back to committee, and I guess I need a second to do that, right?
Second.
When do you want to bring it back?
When the committee said it's time.
Okay, Should we discuss this at all first, or no? Just explain, okay.
No, I would just send it, I'm saying just send it back to committee, let committee discuss it, whatever you guys find when you're ready to bring it back.
Well, the thing with this was my understanding that we need a decision now because Will County Board is meeting regarding this very shortly. So that was how it ended up on, thank you. So what came to light, and I did kind of make everybody aware, that Trustee Fialco did his homework today and found in our New Way garbage disposal contract that there were some things in there where it states that they will physically come to your house and pick up some of these items, but it does not include all of the items. And Carmen, your concern was the paint? Yeah, now we're with that lithium-ion battery, and you know, we have such a meager budget with the Environment Committee, Ruben. I mean, like, and we also, you know, we're not spendthrifty at all. And I would love to save the money if possible, but if the goal is to have everything included, you know, I think that we need to discuss this now.
Okay.
If there's only a chance.
I'll make the motion, we need a second to discuss it, right?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to
Thank
put it
you.
into discussion.
All right, start the discussion, so.
Well, we need a second then.
I'll second it.
So the original motion is no more?
Nope.
You're withdrawing the motion to return it to committee.
Correct.
Yes.
And the second is the agreement?
Correct.
Okay.
Trustee
So we're in
Reinders made the
discussion now,
second.
So now you are moving to adopt you're making the motion that was originally set out on
Yes.
6,
Okay.
and there's a second.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so basically on this, Trustee Fialco discovered that it looks like a large majority of this waste can be taken on by New Way through the contracts that were not negotiated, but taken over during the last administration. But there are some articles that cannot be disposed of using New Way. So what we have to do is pretty much make the decision for those few articles that are going to be disposed of, is it worth spending $7,500 of the taxpayers' money? So that's what Trustee Fialco and Trustee Consolino are pretty much saying. Should we go back and do a little more research to see who can take those remnants that are left from the hazardous waste disposal, as opposed to paying a lump sum of $7,500? So my question is, Will County's going to basically make their decision or have a list of the people who are in this program? Assuming we don't make that deadline, are they not going to take our $7,500? Or?
That's what I wanted to discuss.
And that's what we want to research.
It's not that I'm opposed to taking the time to research it, it's just if we want to provide all of these hazardous materials to be recycled, you know, then we're better off going with the option and spending, unfortunately, out of our tiny budget with environment, but.
Well,
Go
ahead, I'm sorry.
It would only be a one-time fee?
We do this normally once every other year. And so yes, it's a lot of money. That's an environment is the one that fits the bill for it. But I mean, it would be nice if we could figure out something ongoing. You know, if we bite the bullet, we do it this time, make sure that everything is included. And then if we don't have to spend it out of the environment budget in the future, that would be lovely.
And another question, I'm not sure if anybody can answer because I've never been to one of these events. What is the turnout?
Melissa, have you been to any of them? Okay.
So that's one thing I'd like to research. Is it worth the $7,500 if only 2 people are dropping off plasma TVs?
I would say maybe ask Sue Stylen. She would probably know. She's here. Sue?
Oh, there she is.
I'll just tell you that the whole event costs over $20,000, that the village only pays $7,500, the county picks up the rest. And several hundred people do come and drop off stuff, and I just can't see how you can think that Homewood is going to be able to pick up all the little extra items. There's a lot of household hazardous waste that they handle it specially right there on that day. Okay. It's a pretty efficient system that they the county has put together really
Sue,
for us.
Sue, what was the program that they had at the township? I remember Mike DeVivo sponsored something where they would come and drop off electronics and things like that.
Yeah, and that was just electronics. The electronics isn't the big thing, it's the household hazardous waste, the fluorescent bulbs, all the chemicals, the paint, CRT screens. I don't know if they take those they probably do take them at the place on Prime Boulevard.
Okay.
Sue, I've never attended one of these, but you said it cost $20,000 on the Will County side. They're asking.
I mean, it's all together. We cover 7,500 of that.
But they're asking for $7,500 from us. There's got to be other communities being involved, correct? Besides just Will County and Homer Glen, right?
Well, the county, because the county puts that portion in there, anybody from the county can come to our event. And it was kind of a competitive thing for us to be able to get it. The county only organizes so many of those a year.
What I'm trying to get to is the cost share. If ours is at $7,500, if we had 10 communities combined and it's a $20,000 fee that they have to divide between 10, obviously that cost would go down. But at $7,500 just for us, I didn't see anywhere on here that it said other communities will be involved. In your experience, have other communities been involved and participated in the cost share with Will County of the $20,000 total that you're speaking of?
Well, that's what the county share is, coming from the whole county. Other communities.
Okay, but was it only Homer Glen that participated with Will County when you were there? So no other communities wanted to do this process in Will County besides Homer Glen and Will County?
Well, no, we're not the only community that does it. There's another one usually in New Lenox every year as well.
No, I mean at the same time, for this event, this particular event.
We don't go to any other communities and say, do you want to pitch in, if that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, because I guess what I don't understand is where is this located when they do this? Is it located here when they do it? Or is it somewhere in, okay, no, well, that makes a little more sense then.
So, people would have to come and drive a distance to come here, and it's really a service to our residents.
Yeah.
Okay, well, luckily we have Steve Ballich from Will County. Steve,
you,
could you come up and just give us a few details from the county side on what's going on with this?
Yeah, the county, we approve probably anywhere from 5 to 15 of those things every month. So there's cities all over the county making this thing. Well, Lockport is permanent, where you can go there and bring all your recyclables there all the time, all year long. It just so happens that if you live in Homer Glen, you'd have to drive to Lockport to get rid of it. But it's not that far. And then there's other places throughout the county that do the same thing. So Homer Glen having that, and the reason those cities want to do it is so it's more of a convenience for the people that live here. The county doesn't make any money off of it, we lose money. But the idea is to give everybody here a better opportunity so they don't have to drive to Lockport, which in my opinion is like, what, another 10 minutes away from wherever you're going to go to the school?
The Lockport Recycling Center is really easy because they literally take it out of your car. You just have to load your car, they take it right out.
So Lockport is not that far from here.
Steve, with saying Lockport, does that include paint and hazardous chemicals, or is it just
it's recyclable?
To electronics?
It's the computers and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so it's still not taking in paint then and other household chemicals?
No.
Well, it's the hazardous, I think, is where we're running into that issue, because, Steve, we've had those.
Well, I'm just telling you, the main garbage that we can't get rid of is recyclable computers and monitors and all that junk. Okay, that's the bigger problem. Paints and stuff like that, that's a different issue. And if they, I don't know if they still do it, but the stores, the paint stores, like Home Depot and Menards and all them, they were at one point required to take all of them back, the empties, the half-full cans. And they used to, and the stores that sold TVs were required to take the TVs back when you bought a new TV, and then they stopped doing it. So I don't know if the stores will take your paint back, but they used to have to do it.
Well, I know the oil places will take the oils that you have.
Yeah,
I've done that myself.
Again, this recycle thing is a convenience for the people of Homer Glen. It's not a moneymaker for the county loses money. The town, you know, the village is going to, I guess it costs $7,500 to the village, and that's once a year, and they bring all the stuff over. So, you know, I'm just looking at it like if you want to save your paint and bring it there, okay, but people are used to going that every year you have it. You've had it for a long time.
Sue, the last one that you participated in, how many people showed up, would you say, approximately?
Honestly, several hundred.
You got to wait in line. I've been by there.
Well, you make an appointment.
I've never been to one, right?
No, there's a lot of people that go, but it's a real nice convenience for the people here to do it. But there's places in Lockport where you could get rid of your computer stuff and your monitors and all that stuff.
Cool chemicals, antifreeze.
Supervisor Balich, are you guys going to continue on? Don't you have some type of like shredding and recycle event, I thought, at the township?
I'm not sure. We have to check on again, the township is like you guys. Yeah. We don't want to do anything that's going to cost us something that we have to increase our taxes. Unfortunately, the township is, our levy is like $1,013,000. So, you know, we don't have the same kind of dollars to spend on stuff as a city would. And we have to be more cautious about what the cost will be. So we haven't priced it out. We've done it in the past, and we'll probably do it again, but I got to make sure that it's not going to eat up too much of the budget. We get shred off from Mokina. That's the people we use.
Sue, did you have something else you were saying?
Yes.
You're raising your hand.
Say that you collect $1 or $1.50 environmental fee on the garbage bill, and that money was to go towards environmental events. So that's like like a resident pays $4 or whatever a year for that.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Pasmino, you're our chair on environment.
I say, you know, my recommendation, let's go with it. I mean, why change it now, right? And then if we want to look for other less expensive ways.
Yes, I feel the same.
We can do that for next year.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Balich. And thank you, Mrs. Stylen. We appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Thank you both.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pasmino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
And Trustee Reinders?
Aye. Excuse me, aye.
Next would be consider for approval resolution number 23-001, providing for and requiring submission of an advisory public policy question concerning installation and use of license plate readers for public access designated by the village board to support public safety agencies, provided the data collected is confidential and is destroyed within 30 days unless it is subject to matter of ongoing investigation. To appear on the ballot of the elections of the village of former Glen and at the consolidated elections to be held on April 4th.
So move.
Second.
Trustee Pasmino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
And Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Next would be consider an approval resolution number 23-002, providing for and requiring submission of an advisory public policy question concerning exploring ways to create and maintain a part-time police department within the village of Homer Glen.
I know.
Ballot of the electors of the village of Homer Glen at the consolidated election to be held on April 4th, 2023.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
I just want to make sure that it's clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this does not mean getting rid of our current police force. It just would be a supplement to our workforce and however the numbers would work out.
And no, in all actuality, it's just a question asking if people want us to conduct the feasibility study for additional support. Yes.
Thank you.
I understand what we get right now with
Mayor, is your mic on? Because it's hard to hear you for some reason. Thank you.
what we have right now with Will County is they supply everything. They do everything. If they have an arrest, they bring them in. If there's something happens, they take care of everything. They have, if we brought that in, your taxes are going to go, they're going to go up drastically. I went to a few different villages when we first started doing this, and we are approximately, I'd say probably 11,000 cheaper than if we hire on a police station here. You've got to put a building up there, you have to bring in all the police, you have to buy the cars, you have to pay for everything. It's just not worth it. And Will County has been absolutely wonderful with us. If you wanted to put on another one, you could do that, but at the same token, with this flock camera, we should be doing the flock camera. If we had it, it's real possible that when they broke into the liquor store, Kenwood, be a good chance that we would have caught who it was. So, I mean, you decide what you want to do on it, but I think that's probably the biggest mistake you'll ever make.
For the record, I just want to make it clear that this particular J8 item that's going to go as a public question is specifically to ask the permission, or ask the permission and get the feedback from the public if we want to even think of proceeding with something like this. And it's a feasibility study. This is where we're going to look at numbers. This is where we're going to take what we currently have as opposed to what's being put out there. Now keep in mind, Homer Glen, besides another not comparable, but relatively close suburb in the area, we're the only ones without our own police department. The other one closest to us, Fort Heights. So we're compared to Fort Heights. We're looking at numbers, and we want the people's feedback. Nothing wrong with the public's feedback.
And who's been the #1 village in the state for the last few years?
That's,
as far as what?
That's by some ad agency that keeps putting that out there for selling of homes. When I did the research on this, because we get a lot of phone calls, okay? A lot of people come up to us, not just me, other trustees on this village board, and they ask. So we're putting it to the people. We're not deciding on this. And the last time we did a feasibility study for a police department was back in 2008. So this is not unheard of. We're just asking the people's permission on this. Out of the 23 villages, cities in Will County, 13 of them have a lesser population than the village of Homer Glen. All 22 villages, except us, have their own police department. Our population is at 24,516 as of 2021. In comparison, 13 have a lesser population than us by either 20 to almost 4,000. Every village within the Will County has its own police department, with the exception of us. These 13 other lesser population villages that I was discussing that are from 4,000 to 20,000, these people all have additional part-time police officers on top of their full-time police department. One has just the community service officers, just like Orland Park offers. Let me see. Only communities that Cook County provides all police services for is Fort Heights. They provide supplemental patrol services for Harvey, Dalton, Riverdale, Calumet City, Robbins, and Sauk Village. So, you know, everybody on this board was in agreement that they're afraid of what's to come with the Safety Act and the increase in crime here in Illinois. We have 11 miles, I double-checked today, that border Cook County. Cook County did not partake in the lawsuit regarding the Safety Act. The lawsuit claimed 2 weeks ago that it was in violation of our state constitution. In saying that, am I right? It's our state Supreme Court that did that, Carrie, I think. And Cook County said that they're not going to abide by it. They don't care. So we are just within 30 miles of Cook County. I'm looking at the reality of everything that is either occurring with crime and yet to come. And Lieutenant Taylor is going to provide this board, I'm hoping in the near future, with some crime stats on exactly what all the crimes are for the past 4 years, along with what's increasing in crime, not just here in Homer Glen, but in Will County. So, and I'll also get those stats from Cook County, because that's all information that we can put up on our public website, you know, so that people can make their own call. This has nothing to do with what we want. This has to do with what the people want. And this is definitely a hot topic that we've been encountering for how long, Ruben? 6 months, maybe longer? So I'm doing my due diligence on behalf of our residents and our voters. So let them have the vote on it. And that's all I have to say.
I think there's actually 2 studies that we've done previous to this. So I think, you know, so that the voters can have as much information as possible when they go to the voting booth, if this is the decision we do, is we post those previous ones. I believe there's 2 of them. I also would like to see some type of workshop or open house where residents can come and be informed on the costs, and, you know, every detail of what's going on, what the county is providing for us, because I know I did an extensive tour over there off of Laraway, and it was very educational to find out some of the resources that they provide to us under our contract, like social work, psychiatrists, different things like that. So I'd like to see some kind of a workshop, if we could put something together here. I don't think that it's something we can start taking tours over there. I don't think that's something that they're going to allow. But I think that we could definitely bring open up the building here and work with the Will County so that they have an opportunity to kind of show what some of their costs are, what our costs are, and what they provide. So if we could do some kind of workshop in March, maybe before the referendum, we'll see what we can work out.
I agree with some of what you're saying, Trustee Rogers, but the studies that were done before were to replace the whole police department, not a part-time, as far as I know. Did you guys do a part-time study?
No, but I understand, but I think that that's information that should be out there so that there's so we don't have people saying, oh my gosh, this is going to cost $35 million. No, that's what it was in this study. So look at this study and look at what we're proposing to do, because it's 2 different things.
I'm pretty sure
right now, we're asking the public to, if they want this for one, and if they would approve a feasibility study. Once a feasibility study would happen, then we would have the public come forward and share those numbers once we have them. So having a meeting in March, April, March, that's a little putting the cart before the horse, I think. I say let's see what the residents want, and if they say do a feasibility study, then with the feasibility study will then come the next step, and that'll be having the meeting that you're speaking of, Beth. And the other studies, we need, if we're going to announce them, you need to announce that those were studies based on full-time, not part-time.
It'll say that in the studies.
I'm sorry?
The studies indicate, and they also indicate the year that they were done, because there's a huge cost difference.
No, I mean, as far as part-time, you said that they didn't explore part-time.
Right, in the studies will say that it's for full-time.
Those are full-time.
Yeah, for full-time.
Okay.
And and also, how much is this feasibility study going to cost?
We don't know, but there's been other things that were put to feasibility studies, and nobody was asked for their opinion on them.
As a voter, I think they're going to want to know, well, what are we talking? We're talking about
sports complexes. How much money was spent on those studies?
We could look it up. It's all on the website.
I think spending money on a feasibility study is more cost-effective than just doing it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the idea is not to spend the money if that's not going to work out. And we've done several feasibility studies here, and I mean, to me, that's the right path to go.
Well, and the part that we really are forgetting, we're putting our finger on the pulse, right? We're asking the public, hey, is this something that you're even remotely interested in? Yes? Great. Let's go through the feasibility study. Why? Because it's our community. It's safety.
And we don't, right?
No,
and if they say no, then it's no.
I totally agree. You're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
But we want them to make an educated vote. It's like saying, you know, do you want to buy a car? Well, what kind of car? But I think if I'm making a vote, if I want to do a feasibility study, I think we could probably give them a ballpark of what a feasibility study is going to cost. We can look at whoever did it last time and just ask them, can you ballpark us?
I think it was just staff and board members that did it the last time, that formed a task force. So, and staff is in the process of finding it. But, you know, we're also at 4.5 million. Am I correct on that, village manager? Are we around 4.5 million a year for our police department with Will County? So, you know, and also the costs associated with them keep going up. And we have overtime that we're looking at. You know, there are other options that we can explore, and that's kind of what doing a feasibility study should be for. Is this something that we should look into? Like, I wish we would have done this with the Public Works Department. We would have saved so many headaches, and nobody thought to do it. So we're doing our due diligence by looking into the costs associated. And you can't do that unless you do a proper feasibility study.
I totally
We'll come up with the amount for it. We're gonna have to, but if it was done by board members and done by staff the last time, I'm sure that we could do that again.
Yeah, and that's good to know, that there's no cost involved except for staff hours and times.
So we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page. We're going to do, obviously, workshops. The public's going to be notified. Nothing's going to happen behind the scenes. Everything's going to be put out there, full transparency, right? But once again, we need our finger on the pulse. What does the public want? What direction would they like us to go in? That's what that vote is for, and that's what that public question is going to provide. Once we get that answer, then we proceed.
Can I make a comment?
No.
Something that people should be aware of? Because we have Will County sheriffs, we have more things at our disposal compared to having a municipality police department. We have like CSI, you've got the police, we have a lot of that type of stuff immediately available to us than living in a traditional town that has their own police department where then they have to call the state police or calling these other departments for help.
Yes, you're right. And always remember, though, just because, let's assume that we do, let's just assume, hold on, just assume, right, that we proceed with a part-time police department. That doesn't mean that Will County will not have any jurisdiction out here. They're still going to provide, we still pay taxes to them, right? It's just going to be done a little differently.
We also need to clarify, because I think we're getting a little confused here, and Dan was concerned about this earlier. We're not getting rid of Will County Sheriff's Department. And so when we're saying that we're looking at additional support in the form of part-time officers, Will County would still be supplementing. Okay, so that's what is a little, you know, you can only put certain language in these referendums, and then I also want to remind the board it's non-binding. So we're not committed to anything here. We're just asking the people what their opinion is on this.
So you have to do
for direction.
Meeting, get them in here, explain it to them. They'll see if they're on board or not.
I'm more comfortable with referendum.
If there's no more discussion, could we please call the roll?
Yeah. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Fielko?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
And Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Okay, next one. Consider for approval a motion to approve a feasibility study to be performed by Robinson Engineering to evaluate and estimate costs for construction of a wastewater treatment facility within the village of Homer Glen.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
I think this is long overdue. I believe this is the right direction to head. We need to get to, at some point, we need to be independent with our water. We've got to see this at the last time when we were talking about Bonnie Bray out of Lockport and some issues that were going on there. I think collectively, once we do, if this was approved, I believe once we get our own wastewater treatment, we start then collecting the money for the wastewater treatment and the sewer fee instead of somebody else getting it. That's what I was, Carmen?
We would be able to charge for sewer fees.
We don't own the infrastructure.
We do own
It
it.
would be our infrastructure at that point.
Infrastructure is what's under your house. You don't own that house. When they bought it, they had all of the pipes. Same thing with water.
Well, that is true about the infrastructure, because we got involved with that lawsuit with Illinois American Water, and all the other 4 communities own all their infrastructure, and we don't. So whatever we do with that, that's lose-lose right now. But this is heading in the right direction, I believe.
Right, because we're looking at a larger picture here. Correct. We're not shrinking it down to the homes that already have sewer.
Going forward.
We're looking
Moving
at
forward.
what Lockport's servicing us right now that they can't, and the developments that want to come into our community because people love our community, and stuff that's going to happen with our community in the future. We have to look at this.
We'll be able to control our own destiny.
Right, but we can't understand what the numbers are until we do this feasibility.
Right. What I'd like to ask, though, and I know it's jumping ahead, with this, right now, George is saying, well, they still own the sewer, which is correct. But when it goes down to Bonnie Bray right now, isn't Bonnie Bray collecting from us for the sewers that are connected?
For here.
For here.
What is
But it's still the
present here.
sewers, the same sewers are going to bring it to either Bonnie Bray, or it's going to bring it to a new facility here.
That's exactly what it would do, but then if Bonnie Bray gets, its capacity is horrible as it is right now, then it has to get dumped in this. This isn't going to be something that goes fast.
Actually, right now, Bonnie Bray's capacity is not bad. What's wrong with Bonnie Bray is the fact that it was not built to last as long as it's lasting right now.
Correct.
So right now, where we want to get to is a point where every time we want to bring in a development that's going west, we don't want to have to call Lockport and say, hey guys, do you mind if we build a development next to you? Would you mind taking the wastewater? Because right now, that's where we're at. So as much as we love Lockport, they've been an amazing neighbor to our west. They helped us out in the beginning when we incorporated. Now it's time to ease off of them and start our own sanitation district. And that's what this feasibility study is going to help us look at. That's all.
You can do that to anything that's brand new.
Brand new, going forward, absolutely.
Moving forward.
I would like to make a comment on that, because when I was looking at populations of every single town in Will County, Lockport, as of 2021, had 26,118. Homer Glen has 24,516. We are neck and neck. So we have to start exploring other options. We are growing. What did you tell me the other day, Carmen, that there's no houses and there's a high demand. So people aren't fleeing from Homer Glen, they're fleeing to Homer Glen.
Absolutely.
And these, infrastructure, it hurts us.
Well, right now, the Division Street plant can't take anything else. They are at full capacity.
They are at capacity.
It's the Bonnie Bray right now is still at only 30%. But as Ruben stated, their infrastructure of the actual treatment plant itself is outdated. It was only supposed to last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before they were supposed to build the new plant. And now that they didn't, and we want to build, and the problem that I see with all of this is that they continue to build. They continue to develop, and yet we're kind of strapped at what we can do because we have to get their approval. So if we move forward with something like this, it also gives us our independence as well as us being able to control our own future.
So currently, right now, the agreement that we have with Lockport is they will process our sanitation district water into Bonnie Bray until the year 2030. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So we have plenty of time to do something and to get it rolling. And this is where this feasibility study, we need it. We need it bad.
I agree.
We're growing up. We need
Yes.
to grow up.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay. Madam Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
And Trustee Fielko?
Aye.
Motion carries.
J10 and J11 are tabled.
All right, the what now?
10 and 11 are tabled.
Right. Is it these? Okay. All right, number 12, consider a motion to approve the Elton Ron Entertainment Agreement for the 2023 Homer Community Festival in the amount of $5,500.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Why are we voting on this?
Because it's over 5,000.
And I want to see Elton run.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've never had bands this expensive before, and I keep seeing, oh, it's under budget, but remember, we increased that budget a lot, but I didn't think it was so that we were spending more than we've ever spent on things.
Well, I would say inflation, the bands are charging more money, just like everybody else is charging more money.
And Trustee Falco, isn't this the only thing that actually is being presented that's gone up? Because everything else that you've went down?
This gentleman here puts on a show that he sells out everywhere. And to bring a little step above to improve our entertainment just a little bit, where we're actually having a show, I think the community is going to enjoy this. We're within budget. We're under budget by $3,550. The budget actually, if you look at it, fireworks cost $26,000 for 20 or $36,000 for 20 minutes. This is the entertainment for for all 4 days, which comes out to about 32 hours. For all 4 days, and we're under budget. There's a lot of other things that we're cutting too, so we're not utilizing the whole budget like you kind of are alluding to, Trustee Rogers. We are not using the whole budget. We are making the cuts. We wanted to have the cushion to be able to provide finer entertainment for at some level. Not all bands are being paid the same amount of money. So this is going to be a great experience for Homer Glen. This band goes up to Rosemont every year. We go to see them. It's amazing what this guy does, and I think it's a good fit for Homer Glen at a very reasonable price.
I just want to say that if anybody knows how to penny pinch on this board, it is definitely Trustee Fialco.
I agree.
And your lengthy research, like you almost saved us the $7,500 today out of our environment budget. I know it's not easy with Homerfest, and I know that I'm very hands-off because I'm up to here and other things, especially public safety. So, but you knocked it out of the park last year. Your choices, even though not everybody on this board agreed, you brought in record profits. So I'm not going to argue when you're still under budget. So thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion for this? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
And Trustee Rogers?
No.
Motion carries. Last one, consider a motion to approve Simply Queen performance for the 2023 Homer Community Festival. This one is in the amount of $6,500.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion on this one? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Rogers?
No.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Fialco?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
Aye.
And Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Motion carries. Dan, do you know how many bands you are going to have?
I do.
3 per day.
I do.
Oh, do you have any idea right now?
I do. You want to know the number? Is that what you're asking?
Just to,
How many?
Earlier during my trustee time, I had explained, there are 4 nights, and there are 3 bands every night, so a total of 12.
Okay.
We try to take care of local talent first. We try to put a show in. The show, as an example, will be Elton Ron, and also Queen, Simply Queen, will be the show, and then we have the drink dance music lined up afterwards. So it ends up where it's a little formula that I came up with and shared with the Fest Committee, and everybody seemed to think that last year it worked very well. That was the same format that I used last year, and the metrics on it worked out well for us, so I'm assuming the same will be for this year.
okay, I just curious. Okay.
May I just, Trustee Fialco, just so you know, I think it's an incredibly good idea to have these kinds of contracts approved by the board. It avoids confusion down the road. It adds to that magical transparency that people are always concerned about. And there's nothing wrong with doing it the way you've done it. In fact, it's probably a better way. And so I'm just commenting because in other communities that I do work for, I always encourage what you're doing tonight, okay?
Yes, we said we were going to always be transparent. I am keeping up to that promise, and there's nothing to hide, and I'm looking forward to a great Homerfest 2023, so thank you.
No, and that's the way it's been done since we started, so you're running good. All right, we got to go back to...
F.
Okay, we have to approve the minutes. So Christine, you want me just to read off the packets to see, or just to see if they're going to pass it?
Just like we normally do. I mean, I think we agreed to do roll call on each one.
Okay. So first one is October 31st, 2021, special village board meeting. And I need a motion to approve.
Yeah, so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, or discussion?
Discussion.
Discussion then.
So, find them. Okay. Carrie, I need your advice because I think there's only one set of meeting minutes that we were okay to possibly approve tonight with a lot of changes. And how would we go about doing that?
For the third time.
You have certain minutes that you want to approve without change and certain that you want to...
No, but they're still going to have to be changed, and the others still have to be changed, and I'm almost wanting to request a special meeting to do so that everybody has the everybody has a different perspective on these meetings and the content that's not in there, and along with the errors. So
I was going to suggest the same thing, seeing the number of minutes or number of meeting
it's a lot, and then
minutes that are required
there's
to be
meetings
approved.
you need to review too.
Particularly if you all have changes that you think are appropriate. You can have a meeting, a special meeting, to approve just the minutes. I have never seen this many minutes requiring approval all at one time. And I've been doing this for over 35 years as a municipal attorney. So maybe that's a good way to go about it. Instead of trying to make changes on the fly as we go through it this evening, I counted 12 sets of minutes. I could be off, but...
There's 10 of them.
Well, excuse me, 10, and that's still more than I've ever seen for approval.
Well, 2 were tabled and 3 failed, so I had to bring them back.
2 were tabled, 3 failed.
That would be my suggestion, is to do a special meeting where you all could review these, make your proposed changes, and then bring them back and either amend them at the time of the special meeting or get them amended in advance.
Only one meeting is not outstanding. That would be the December 14th meeting. I mean, like, the first one on the list is over a year old, and it wasn't brought to us until October of 2022.
It was requested to be 3 times. Would you like to go over December 14th instead?
Would you like me to go over my report, or would you like me to?
Oh, no, you just brought up December 14th. So there's a motion on the table, so I was just asking.
Well, we're in discussion about it, though. So I think Carrie gave us good advice.
Yes.
I don't think we should look at any of these today. We should, instead of trying to split hairs on December and all this other, let's just make a special meeting because there's so many. And I think that'll be better instead of wasting the public's time to try, and the public can show up for this meeting too, right?
And we can explain to the public
Absolutely.
why.
You could even, if you...
Nothing will be hid from the public. It'll be a public meeting when we have the special meeting. And I think that's just a better way to do it than...
You could even do it if you cared to. You could do it in advance of your regular meeting on a regular meeting night, or just do it all at one time in a special meeting where you'd consider nothing more.
What would you guys prefer?
Special meeting.
Before a meeting or on its own? On its own? Okay. Does anybody have any availability next week?
Wait, I just want to add, are we looking at minutes, the 3 minutes that were denied? Are they back again? Is
Yes.
that how it works?
Oh, no, It's a lot of outstanding. We are in
No, wait, hold on.
We are in OMA violation right now.
Wait, I'm just asking a question to the attorney. So if something is denied, then you can bring it back again? Is that how it works?
Well, the minutes weren't approved, so.
They weren't approved, right?
So you're going to bring them back for approval,
Okay.
but it's with whatever amendments you all think are appropriate to
Okay.
make. I don't know what you want to do with them.
Do you have any amendments for any of these meeting minutes?
I always review them and give them to her ahead of time, and then they come into the packet.
Because we
That's
have
all.
lots.
Yeah.
There were a lot of errors.
For 8
And there was a lot of
years?
stuff missing.
Yeah.
So
we get the packet, we get the drafts. We typically in the past, if there's something we want changed, we give it to her, she changes it, and then it ends up in the final packet.
do you also get requested to give her your report in writing?
I don't, if it's in writing, I hand it to her, but I don't, I'm just off the cuff.
Does she ask you to provide that report earlier than the meeting?
Never.
As she has of us.
If she
I have
asks me if I
not.
have something in writing,
Okay.
yeah.
No, I have not.
I almost think that next week would be too early. That's just my opinion. If we were going to do it the week after the 25th, to me would be a better option. And that way it gives everybody a little bit of time to review. There's quite a bit here.
What do you-
It needs to be put through, so
that-
everybody's got the time to go
Wait,
through all
when is
10
it?
of them.
When's the 25th then?
But I think next week would be too,
Wednesday, the 25th.
Please,
I'm saying after the next board meeting.
After, okay.
Yeah, so that would put it into that first week of February somewhere, maybe on the 7th?
The 7th, there is a ability awareness meeting at 6:30.
Okay, well, anyway, I just think next week is too early. If you came up with something maybe a little bit later, that gives people time to kind of get everything the way, or to look at them the way they want to look at them, and then we can do this right all at one time.
I mean, I would rather try and do it before the next board meeting, to be honest.
Well, what about the week of the 29th through the 4th of February? Sometime during that week.
February?
No, I'm talking about our next meeting.
No, I'm talking about do a special meeting the following week. Instead of the week of the board meeting, the following week.
You're suggesting like the
There,
1st.
If we're already in OMA violation, then we should be sitting here with the December minutes, which now I can't find. That's the only one that is not outstanding. All these other meeting minutes are in violation of OMA guidelines. They are to be written and brought before the board within 30 days.
Yeah, and the problem is.
And approved.
These keep coming, and then we keep doing this.
No, that's
We put
only
them off, and we
happened
put them off, and
recently.
put them off.
That only happened recently.
But there's a big, that's what I'm saying. This is just going to keep, now,
This didn't happen overnight.
next one.
It did not happen overnight. I have a whole timeline, and if you guys want me to go off on it
got one
tonight,
too.
but I think everybody's exhausted. So I would rather do it in a special meeting. So it's totally up to you guys.
Yes, legislative counsel, being that it's a possibility that there is an OMA violation with some of this.
I filed
Do you recommend that we, is it okay that we wait till after the next meeting? Or do you suggest we try and rush and get to this as soon as possible? Or what I'm trying to say is it going to hurt us by waiting a little longer?
Since you're already in technical violation, I don't know that it's going to create any more additional difficulty. I think what you need to do is find a date which is convenient and sit down and in advance make whatever changes you all want to make so that when you come to that meeting date, you have everything ready to at least discuss and go over. It's not going to hurt you anymore by being another week or two late. But no one has chased you at this point in time. So it's more astute to try and find a time within the next few weeks where you can all sit down, go through these and approve them, get them on file so that the public can review them and try to avoid this ever happening again in the future. So,
Can we
good
do?
date.
I'm
Good
sorry.
date.
I'm looking at Monday, the 23rd.
Monday, the 23rd of,
January.
I'm not available.
January 30th, Monday.
Well, what time on the 23rd?
What time for you guys?
Can we do it
That's the day
earlier?
that you guys are closed, yes.
I can't do from 6:30 to 7:30, so if you guys want to do before or after, I'm good with that.
I'll leave that up to,
I think before would be good, early afternoon,
For on Monday, the 23rd?
or Monday,
or earlier.
23rd.
You want to go earlier?
No.
Okay. So 4 on Monday, the 23rd, correct?
January
Oh, the
23rd?
30th.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 30th.
Oh, the
Okay, so
30th we're
January
looking at?
30th? Okay.
January
wait,
23rd at what time?
No, they're saying the 30th.
Can we do 1 o'clock instead of 4?
No, I can't.
Oh.
I can't.
How about 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock I could do, but that might be early
No,
for
I
some
can't.
people. Can we do 4 o'clock on the 30th?
I'll do 4.
I can do that.
Yeah, 4 is good.
4 on January
4 p.m.
30th.
on Monday, January 30th?
Okay, so you would make a motion to have a special meeting on January 30th at 4 p.m. for the purpose of reviewing and adopting the minutes that are listed presently on the agenda as F1 through 10. And the staff will then prepare a notice of the special meeting for the public. And can someone make that motion?
I think we have a motion, right? That we have to rescind? Right? Isn't there a motion already?
Will you make a motion to amend?
Right.
Motion to amend,
Because it was you and Trustee
Right.
Rogers and Trustee Pezmino, right?
yes.
Motion to amend is
Will you withdraw the original motion?
Sure, yeah.
You'll withdraw your second?
Yes.
And then will someone then make that motion to have the special meeting on January 30th at 4 p.m. to review and adopt, hopefully, the minutes that are listed on tonight's agenda under Schedule F, 1 through 10?
Yes.
Can we add today's meeting to that as well?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we add today's meeting to that special meeting as well?
Yeah, I don't see
May as well
why
get
not.
all over.
Today's meeting, you could probably, well, when's the next regular meeting?
It'll be the 25th.
Or the 25th?
They should be ready on the 25th. Let's try to stay ahead of this game instead of behind like we are.
Well, one thing that I'd like to say is if we could, that,
So moved, second.
well, but wait a minute, I want a little discussion. What point do we do that at? After, okay, so I motion, so move,
Okay.
what he said.
You got a second?
Second.
Aye.
Do a roll call. Just
Wait, yeah, okay, hold on. So it was Ruben and Rosie. Okay, Trustee Fialko?
Aye?
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
Aye.
And Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
We still have old business and new business.
Is there any old business?
I have something to say on there, but going back to the whole minutes part, and I promise I'll be brief. Can we please get to a point, because, okay, we go have this meeting, we go through the minutes, we go through all the work that we're putting into it, then we're going to start all over again with the new minutes and new meetings. We need to get to a medium point here where we as a board will be able to approve minutes that are appropriate. I understand that, Clerk Trikey, you have your way of taking your notes and doing your summaries. I noticed that, for example, on most of my reports, they're nowhere in there. Now, I don't know because I don't give you something written
Your report's completely missing?
on a few of them. Now, granted, that might be because maybe you expected us to write something, but to be quite honest with you, it is my impression that correct me if I'm wrong, the clerk takes the minutes of all the notes, because I'm in quite a few committees and I never have this issue. But then again, I'm sure that if I mentioned something to whoever's taking the notes and I said, hey, we need a little bit more info, could you please put it in there? All we're pretty much asking is for our reports to be put in their entirety. The mayor asked you a few times to put a few things in, you put them in. We're asking for you to put things in. And I'm sure he didn't write anything to you and say, hey, put this in. So, and I get it, you know, I strongly believe that if we get to a midpoint here, we'll all be happy with these minutes, because we can't be going through this every time. We come up here, we do our thing, you take the minutes, you write them down, you put them out so that the public could see them. And it's not easy, it's not hard to access. You just go on YouTube and you look at the video, so it's very easy to take everything you see on YouTube and just put it on paper. But there have been complete omissions on a huge scale, and I don't know if it's by accident, or I don't know if it's whatever the reason. If we could just fix it so that moving forward, it doesn't happen anymore and we don't have to go through this. Because again, nobody likes OMA violations, and we just spent, what, half an hour on this whole thing, and then we're gonna spend another day on it?
I'd like to ask legislative counsel, is there any requirement for, during let's use trustee time as the example. And a trustee, some trustees write down on a piece of paper what they have, and they could give it to the clerk. But is there any requirement by state statute or OMA rules that require the trustee to have everything that they said that they want documented as part of the meeting to be given to the clerk to make it the official record?
There's no requirement under state law, but if you want something to be part of an official record and you have the time, you should prepare whatever it is and then submit it to the clerk as part of your comments after you've made them. But is there any requirement? No. And the minutes can in fact reflect a summary of whatever it is that you put into your report.
So wouldn't the official recording be sufficient enough to use as, to complete that document? I mean, instead of having to type it all out? Because, I mean, some of us type things out, and myself, I just speak from my heart most of the time. I don't write things down. So, I mean, with that said, it is a recorded event here. Everything's recorded. So, to me, it would be just as easy to get verbatim from a recording than try and, read something.
You mean in terms of preparing the minutes, actually preparing them? If I was preparing them, I'd probably look at the recording, yes, but the minutes still have to be prepared. That's the requirement.
I'd like to interject really quick because I do have the OMA statute, and I'm not going to read everything else. My summary will be saved for the special meeting. But I already addressed this with the clerk. Public bodies must keep written minutes of all of their open and closed meetings and must also keep a verbatim record of all closed meetings in either audio or video format. Minutes must include the date, time, and place of the meeting, members of the public body that were present or absent, and whether the members were physically present or present by means of video or audio conference. Minutes must also include a summary of discussion on all matters proposed, deliberated or decided, and a record of the votes taken. This is Illinois state statute. So what Trustee Pasmino was pointing out, could you please put down what we say? Before every vote, the way I read this, there should be a small summary, even if it's just a couple statements, a couple sentences. There's nothing. Approval of minutes. Public body must approve the minutes of its open meetings within 30 days after that meeting or at its second subsequent regular meeting, whichever is later. Within 10 days after approval, minutes must be available for public inspection. Public body that has a website that is maintained by its full-time staff must post on its website the minutes of a regular open meeting of its governing body with 10 days of approval. Minutes must remain posted for at least 60 days after their initial posting. Now, we just started getting some of these back in October. You have 8/31/2021, which is still outstanding, 10/31/2021, 11/18/2021, 7/13/2022. Go ahead. 7/28/2022, 8/02/2022, 8/24/2022, 9/14/2022, 9/28/2022, 10/12/2022, 10/26/2022, and 11/9/2022. 12/14, which was up for tonight, is the only one that is not outstanding. And I'm sorry, that's not acceptable, and that's why I filed an OMA violation. So we will discuss this at the special meeting as we should. I think everybody's exhausted. We had a very good and a very long meeting tonight. It can hold off until then.
So if I'm to understand you correctly, Carrie, just because a trustee does not put together a summary and turn it into the clerk does not negate the responsibility of whoever the clerk is to complete the minutes of the meeting as the meeting happened, whether it's taken off of the recording or not. You're not obligated to do it. It would be a courtesy. It doesn't negate the responsibility, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
May I say something? Trustee Pasmino, you had stated that none of your reports, I just went through every single one, and there is a summary for every meeting.
I didn't say none, I said...
I thought you said some were missing. There was only one from July 13th that I looked that didn't have something in there, but it was in the
ones that I have for...
Yeah, I mean, we can go over it at the next meeting, over all of that, but I did send them to you guys previous to this meeting. If you wanted any changes, to send it to me. I believe I sent it quite some time ago. And I do have, I have never seen it to say that I have to type a summary, and that could be something that I'm totally wrong on, but I've never seen it to say that I need to type a summary per motion. There's a summary for reports, but not per motion. So maybe it's fine. Maybe I could be wrong, but from what I had in my training and all that, I've never seen that. So thanks for enlightening me if that is the case. I'll look that up myself. And I do have, the reason being that I had some of these delayed is because I was told verbatim in email 3 times that I was not allowed because you wanted to have your reports submitted verbatim. And that is fine, and that's fine, and I waited, and I reminded you, hey, I need your report. So in the beginning, that is why specific trustees, it wasn't that I requested, I never requested for your report. It was that you wanted verbatim what you said, and I had no problem putting it in there, never have.
For the record, this just got addressed, didn't it, within the past few weeks?
Okay.
Everybody, I just, guys, I don't want to point... hold on, really quick. I don't want to point fingers. I just want to get to a point where we fix it so that we move forward. That's it, guys.
And we agreed on that via email, so I appreciate that, and I said I appreciated that.
Without any further discussion, could we...
All the vote.
Is there any other old business?
No, we got to vote on this, George. For the meeting. Not for the meeting, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, we did. We did for the...
For the special meeting?
You did, then we moved, correct, then we moved into old business, and Mr. Pasmino wanted to talk about it, so.
Yeah.
So is
I
there
just
any
want-
other old business?
No.
One thing. I asked under old business, McDonald's was going to come back to us at this meeting for their sign variance. Where are we at with that?
So they want to come to the next meeting, which is on the 26th. They had, or 25th, I apologize. They wanted to request the 25th.
They'll be here.
Yep.
Okay. So it'll be on the agenda as a discussion item only or as a voting item? Motion? Okay. All right.
Did you vote on the special meeting? Are you all set to go on the special meeting on the 30th? Are we all set?
As far as I know,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Dan, do you have any other old business?
No, sir. That would be it.
Actually, I had one more thing on our old business, just so we don't forget. The resident that came earlier and spoke about the ordinance 9271C versus 9250B, is somebody going to get back to him on that? Because nobody took his information.
He left a note on
Got
here.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have.
This is for you. Okay.
I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Oh, there's no executive session, right?
Oh, we should have added that.